All right, so we're live. So, Harry, welcome.
Eric, thank you. Thank you.
So this worked out perfectly because we're actually just starting to talk, and we're just starting to talk. So it's like a perfect non-fake introduction. We're just starting this phone call together, and we haven't talked since the big news. The big news being Expel acquiring Veloce. So it's a double authentic, great talk we can have tonight. So thanks for taking the time.
Eric, it's God gives you some opportunities, whether it's business or family, and here we are. I mean, God's given you a great opportunity to do what you do and enjoy it.
Yep, absolutely. I completely agree with that. And so let's start at the very beginning with a congratulations. Congratulations because Expel acquired Veloce, which means Veloce and Veloce's team is now part of Expel. Is that about right?
That is, and I've been very thankful for my team. Um, there's no way we would have gotten to anywhere that we did without the team. So that was part of something that I had talked to them about and said, look, we're a team. We go up together and we go down together. And Expel was very kind to say, look, we will definitely take your team on board.
So let's, I guess, really back up just for anybody who may
Yeah.
be listening to this in the future or currently, and maybe somehow they don't know who you are, who Veloce is, and so on. Just to kind of fill in, you have been in the window film industry for over 20 years. On the supplier side of things, you were previously vice president of the IWFA, and about a year and a half ago, you created Veloce Innovations, launched it as a flat glass, a premium flat glass line. Yeah.
Yeah. So, the real history was back in 2000. Today we hear of the words ceramic window tint. Well, I was one of the first people definitely the first brand, but one of the first people in North and South America to even utter those words at a time when, Eric, people didn't believe in you. They were like, well, ceramic window tint. It reminds me of my ceramic tile and my toilet and all that stuff. So
You think of
we
a plate,
created a name.
right?
Yes, yes, and we created a brand, we created a name, and a very good product, and it was a good brand, and we created this. But the reality was Eric, what we did was we did a great job in creating a very good product, a very good brand. But I think we fell asleep at the wheel, right? I mean, we just didn't innovate and so forth. And what happened was the industry caught up, and we were along the lines of, well, people are going to still come get movies at Blockbuster and so forth. But definitely, and then in 2018, I came to a realization that look, I have to go out and kind of help innovate. I had some visions of some things I wanted to do, and then in 2019, in mid 2019, I started Veloce and we hired some team members on, and I've got Yazi, who's a great big part of it, and Carol, who's been an amazing part of the team, and these two are definitely family members, not even coworkers.
Right.
And then here we are. We continued to build. We got some amazing dealers, and it's Eric, it's easier the second time around. So in 2000, when we started, in 2000 and 2001, it was very difficult. People said, "Well, what the hell is this ceramic film, and why should I trust you?" Right? And this time around, they said, "Well, I know you. You said X back in the days, and you did it. Now It's a lot easier to trust you because at that time I didn't know you. Now I actually know who you are and what you've done. So, I'm going to trust you." And people were, Eric, they were amazing people that gave me the opportunity. I mean, they were people in our industry, and I can't even name all of them. Jason Thomas is one of them. Frank over in Florida. There are people here in Houston, Dallas, Alabama. I mean, there were just so many people that believed in me that it was kind of it was eye opening, and I'm just so thankful for all of those.
So 2018 till now, Veloce
Yeah.
grew throughout the U.S. Um,
So 2000, no, not even 18. I started the company in mid 2019. So we were about a year and a half old, out of which a year
18.
was through the pandemic.
Are you sure it wasn't 18? You
No,
started it in
in
19, you said?
2009,
I know it's funny that I questioned you,
2019.
but I'm just getting confused with
No,
my
no,
dates.
no.
You're right, because we're in
2009.
2021.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
said to
yeah. So
talk it
we
out
just
for my
started.
own
So
purposes so I could figure out where we're at. That's
it,
all.
it's okay. Listen,
You're
I've
right,
got. If you need a
2019.
calculator, if you need a calculator, Eric, I'm good, man. I'll hold.
I'm time traveling, so I just need to know where we're at. But no, I
Yeah. So
just
2009,
right,
mid to, and even 2019, Eric, was, it was a little bit of wash, because remember, you can't start a new brand in the summer of a year. By that time, people have already made their decisions. The
right,
plane's already flying. So
right.
2019, we started it in the summer, but it was really, reality is that that was just it was just to get our systems in place. 2020 was, so literally maybe, a little over a year or
And
so.
then 2020, as fortune would have it, what, March, me and you were sitting on a similar screen talking
Yeah.
about COVID and so on. So that obviously, like, it'd be, who doesn't know that that really defined 2020. Now, with that said, I think I would say 9 out of 10 tint shops that I speak to will say they had a record year in 2020, even given
Yeah.
all the challenges that they faced. But with that said, that was basically your first year, full
Yeah.
first year for the company. Now, fast forward to December 31st, as I understand it, based on the press release from Expel. Um,
Yeah.
Expel acquires your company. Can we back up to things are rolling? We're in 2020 at some point, some month from there. How do you go from that to December 31st? What transpired on in your
So
end?
look,
Or
we weren't really, the goal was not to sell, right? The goal was to grow this brand. A huge there was a huge opportunity. We were going at such a phenomenal uh, pace. We had some amazing products that we brought to market, but then the opportunity came along with Expel, and basically I have I've been a big believer, Eric. There's so many to complement the people that do things well, right? So Expel, they've created, there's so many brands in the market today, right? And they are what I would call dealer brands. Dealers feel really good about them, and they're like, well, look, I have this, and blah blah blah. And there are two brands that are that really jump out as a consumer brand, that have done an amazing job. And I felt this way prior to, because look, one of the companies purchased us, the other hasn't. So I'm still complimenting the other company too, right? 3M has a great consumer brand,
of
right? I mean, and it's not because of window film, but it's so great, and they've done an amazing job. Hats off to them, right? And then Expel in the automotive world, Eric, all of my friends, some of which don't even know Veloce, when they saw the press release, because they're in the stock markets, they saw Harry Rahman, and then they saw Expel, and they were like, yeah, Harry, but what is Veloce, right? We were not a consumer brand, right? And it would take me a decent amount of time to build Veloce into a consumer brand. It would take me any minimum of 5 years with a lot of painstaking, right? Become a consumer brand minimum, and probably closer to 10 years. So I didn't want to just be, the previous company I was with, it's a good brand, it's a good product, but it's a dealer's brand, right? It's the dealers feel like, okay, look, I've got this product, I'm going to go sell it, but there is no consumer awareness.
right.
So this opportunity was so cool, because now I'm able to do what I do best, which is I'm the head of architectural. I'm the director of architectural films for Expel.
Mhm.
I'm able to do what I do best, and I'm able to leverage my knowledge. But now I've surrounded myself with so many people that are much smarter than me. I mean, their CEO, Ryan, Eric, let me tell you, I've been around a lot of leaders, but as successful as this guy is, he's so down to earth. I mean, he's just like, hey, Harry, tell me more. Give me your thoughts,
Mhm.
and just so open. And then just the entire team. There's Rob Benzer, there's Matt Moreau, there's Mike Mail. I mean, there's so many people, Chris Coffey, that are just like so smart, much smarter than I am. And I'm just happy to be on a team where when I pass the ball, I feel like somebody's going to score, and I'm not the only one that has to score.
Right. And that's the key here. Like the way I see it is, if you're a Veloce dealer now or you're Harry or whatever it is, like your team, I mean, just exponentially grew by a rate that I couldn't even begin to try and pick a number because, like your backing, your resources, your reach, your anything you want to execute on now, you have more behind you, and that benefits everybody. Like literally everybody. And that's like a perfect example of where companies can be stronger together than apart. Like no doubt about it.
And it was there's a part of it, Eric, that is painful. There's a part of it that's actually, when you think about it, it can be painful depending on your personality, right? I've been around a lot of people in our industry that are control freaks. Well, I have to have entire control. I don't.
No.
If the team is winning, I will pass the ball and go stand on the sidelines if they're better players than me and take the victory rather than say I scored and we lost. Right. So to me, the pie just got so much bigger, and I'm a smaller piece of it, and I'm okay because I'm on that team. Look, and I don't say this because I wear an Expel hat as of today, but I'll tell you, Lumar used to be an amazing company, and it's still a good company, right? They were very aggressive. They've lost it. And I've always said this, I've said this in the past. Now, what they do very well, what I love about Lumar is their technical support division is
Mhm.
so amazing. They're so far ahead and they benefit the entire industry. So Eastman and Lumar specifically, thank you, because you help the entire industry. 3M, great brand awareness. They do things so well. So I'm not, I wear an Expel hat, but there's so many other companies that do things so well. But the beauty of the excitement that I get is I'm on a team that has superstars, and I'm not the best player on the team, but I enjoy that. I want to learn from these players on the team. I spoke to a guy today in Houston. He runs part of Expel's. He's in sales as well, and Chris White, just an amazing guy. There's Jeff Phillips. Jeff. What a class act, right? There's Dave Dellinger. I mean, and you couldn't design a team better than these guys are so aggressive.
Wouldn't you say though, what they,
Yeah.
it wasn't necessarily about like, how did Expel find such great people? It's more about Expel made themselves a great company, and it almost creates a magnet to great people because simply like you're bringing in like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of something that I try to communicate
Yeah.
with dealers when
So
it comes to hiring is it's not just about picking people. It's about, being the example you
yeah.
want, and the right people will come to you.
So interesting you say that. I had another offer from a company that actually offered me more than Expel did, but I didn't believe in them. Right? I mean, I don't see that as a leading. If I picture myself
What does the name
three
of their
years
company
down the
rhyme
line,
with?
that was a good one. Good question, man. So, but I
I
didn't
get you.
believe in it, right? I mean, I,
Right.
I, I want to be a part. Look, at the end of the day, Eric, there's a certain amount of money that you need to fulfill your immediate expenses. Beyond that, it goes in a bank, right? So beyond that, there's a level of respect, there's a level of your future, there's a level of your enjoyment, all those things. When your basic necessities are met, you start thinking of, am I going to have fun, right? You're not going to think of that until you can make your car note and your house note. After that, you ask yourself, am I going to have fun? And I'm going to be so that, and Eric, there's a lot of pain in the growth at Veloce as well. If you remember, there were films I created in 2018 that um, I did not take to market. If you remember that, right? There were products that, and I lost $250,000 on one, and I did this and I did that. So there was a lot of growing pain. But the one thing that I promised
Comes with growing.
was, I said, look,
Mhm.
yeah, but the one thing I promised was my reputation and what we put out is more important than the immediate amount of money that I'm about to make, right? So yeah, we lost money, but at the same time, people can say, look, this guy knew X, Y, or Z, and he didn't do it, and there was a lot of respect for that.
So speaking of like excitement and so on,
Yeah.
how is this week? I mean, Monday was the big announcement, and since Monday, like
Yeah.
what is? I mean, we're Wednesday. What has gone on this last couple of days for you?
So I've been very thankful that that our current dealers, just calling them up, letting them know what's going on. Number one. Number two is their Expel has some dealers that most of their dealers are more auto and PPF, but they're dealers that want to grow into the flat glass market. So some of those have reached out to me, and it's just been, it's a lot of calls, some media and this and that and so forth, and then just getting to know the internal team, and getting to know what everybody does, the resources I have, and that's another thing. It's just everywhere I look, there are people saying, "Hey, what can I do to help you grow this company?"
That's amazing. And like, I'm just trying
Yeah,
to
yes,
imagine, like, I felt like a little giddy when I read it. And I just feel like, I don't know, I feel a little like peppy. Like, I'm just excited for you. I'm excited for Expel. I'm excited for the dealers. Like, it's just excitement. It's like people pushing the pace. It's people working together to innovate and improve. And I can only imagine the sort of difference in like energy you wake up with in the morning with this new, like, you turn a corner and it's like the perspective gets even wider, right? The
yeah.
opportunity is so
It's
much
and
bigger.
have you seen the Verizon commercial where he says, "This is my network"?
Okay.
Have you
I don't
seen the
know. Not
Verizon?
really.
So,
I
so
don't really pay
yeah, yeah. So
attention.
it's all right. It's a
But
really
I
cool
got the
commercial. It's the
concept.
guy.
It's a small network.
Yeah, it's the guy that's like, yeah, it's like, and this is my network. So, when I get up in the morning, I feel like this army is out there, and I'm part of the army that is taking, and and that is growing this brand, and everybody gets up. And I'll tell you, in most large corporations, Eric, it's a very corporate structure. It's a very corporate attitude and structure. I mean, there are people that are sending me emails at 9, 10, 11 at night. These are salaried people,
Yeah.
but I feel like they treat this company like they own it. But it goes back to your point that, you put out, and it starts at the top. I mean, Ryan is just so humble and so down to earth. Eric, you would not know when you meet this guy that he runs a $1.6 billion corporation.
I know, and it's 1.6 billion. It actually added some parts of that billion after the Veloce acquisition. So just to point out, the stock was probably around $52 on Monday and is hovering around $60 now. And given that a lot of tinters and paint protection and people in the industry own that stock, the Expel stock, hey, it's been quite a move for both companies with a bright future for obvious reasons, but also like in everybody's pocket, it probably put some money. It added value to the company. A lot of people are
Sure.
probably,
So
they just made 15% on their return or whatever, 10% extra, whatever it is, 8%.
yeah,
Good for
yeah,
them.
and the beauty, one of the greatest things that, in my conversations with, there are in today's market, uh, for those that are in the stock market, there are CEOs that think of valuation, and then there are CEOs that think about doing the right thing, because valuation, you have no control, just doing. And it was interesting when I first started talking to Expel and to Ryan. I was like, well, Ryan, what about valuation? And he said, you know what, my philosophy is, I just keep doing the right thing, and getting this company to where it needs to be. The rest of that stuff, I'm not worried about. And that is,
Right.
I'll tell you, in a world today where the shareholders dictate what you do, that was so refreshing.
Of course. And that's truly the only way to survive long term is with that perspective. I think in today's world, because those short term, trying to, go from quarter to quarter and only looking at those short term, if that's your sight, eventually you trip over that. And there's a podcast, and I think like obviously Expel's a perfect example of that, but also you could look at Tesla, another perfect example of that. And both those companies are actually compared together recently because of their immense growth this year.
Sure.
Now, a podcast that I heard, I don't know if I shared it with you. I know a window tinter shared it with me, and it was a podcast with Ryan. I believe it was earlier this year. I think it was like the San Antonio like Business Journal or something along that. And you could just probably search his name in podcast. And I just recommend for anybody who wants to listen. He really gives you an understanding of kind of who he is and where the company came from, some of the challenges at the beginning of the company, and his vision to getting it to where it is today. And I thought I just really enjoyed it. It was like only 30 minutes and I loved it. I listened to it a few times.
Yeah, if you listen to his story beyond that and the loans that he took out at a time when Expel really needed it, I mean, he put his own money on the line. And that's why
So,
people like that, that people like Ryan, people like, you that started Tint Wiz and you put everything on the line, not knowing where it was going to go. Let me tell you, those are the people. Look, I left a job after 18 years, Eric. Do you know how difficult it is to leave a
of
paying
course.
job that has health insurance and this and that after 18 years? It's very difficult. For me to get up and leave, it's either there's a lot of pain or there's a lot of opportunity you're seeing. And I mean, you did that. You started from scratch, right? And people like Ryan, I mean, he deserves a lot more, and not just him. The entire team deserves even a lot more than they've received. And I'm not just saying it for them. I mean, there are people in other brands. The gentleman that started Suntech, right? He spun off and he started Suntech, and what an amazing story that was. I mean, he spun off of Lumar, built this.
Mhm.
So it's I don't want people to think that look, I wear an XPEL hat and that's why I'm giving. There's so many stories like that. I mean, the gentleman from Suntech, I'm forgetting, Steve Phillips, it was his name and stuff. He did an amazing job, and there's just a lot of opportunity. For me, the one thing that I do, Eric, I want to share is that, guys, there are leaders that want you to succeed. There are friends that want you to succeed. I've had people call me uh, after the acquisition, and literally, Eric, people like you as well, that was so happy for me. And I've had and it's interesting, they say when something good happens, you can always tell the people that are not clapping, right? You can always tell, but there's so many people that were happy, genuinely happy for me that it's surround yourself with people that care. Surround yourself with people that want to see you happy, and vice versa. Be happy for them, and so forth. That it's for a guy who lost his father at the age of 13 in Africa, and grew up and came here, and my uncle and my aunt, and by the way, my aunt just passed away last week. An amazing woman that she did so much for me, and my uncle who did so much for me and stuff. Um, the American dream is, guys, whatever you put your mind to, you, you work hard at it. If you can't do it in this country, you can't do it anywhere.
It's true. That's because yeah, I could leave it at that because it's definitely true. This country, it's full of opportunity. Don't limitations that people put on themselves are typically in their own mind and so on. And when you're around people that are cheering you on, that are helpful, that are also doing things, and you're cheering them on, that's how you grow. That's how you move forward. And I feel like your overall perspective on things on earlier when you were saying, you don't need to be a control freak on things. Those are mature perspectives on business that sometimes, you could be mature at a young age or it could be mature at an older age or whatnot, but it's a great point to get to because the people who typically want to hold on, they're holding on because they're so afraid of losing. And when you're so afraid of losing, your focus becomes losing, your direction becomes losing, and you head towards losing. That doesn't work. And, when you realize, whether you realize early or later on, that, a team can go a lot further, and you want to have those people by your side and those resources, and you don't want to have all the control because it actually works better than I just it's a great place to be in.
And I think it's also it's having faith, man. It's you got to give people credit, right? I mean, it's also, I think there's a little bit of arrogance in control, because the arrogance in control says I can do it better than anybody else. Think about that mentality. Is like, well, I'm not going to give it because I'm the best at what I do. That's not the case, man. You put good people around you, and they will do. When I first started, um, in the company I used to work for, when I joined, we had about, I think, 15 dealers or so. And then my boss said, well, I'm kind of scared, which was, I understood, right, to a certain extent, of giving these dealers to you because, I mean, these are my bread and butter. And I was able to take those dealers, not just those, and add more, and take it to a level to where, I mean, he was extremely happy.
So, okay, as far as your existing dealers now, And as
Yeah.
far as you can talk about, Veloce is staying Veloce, and the team on Veloce is part of the Veloce team, which is part of the Expel team. So as a Veloce dealer, if they're a Veloce dealer in last December or they're a Veloce dealer this February, is there any significant difference in their life?
So, we're going to have number one is the systems that we have are just going to go awesome. Expel has ERP systems. I mean, they really have integrated purchases, sales, this. It's very organized. So that's the first thing. That's a huge benefit. Number two is we are going to have more warehouses, right? So we will have a warehouse on the West Coast at some point. They already have Expel has a West Coast warehouse. So they'll be able to, if you're in California or on the West Coast, you'll be able to get product faster. We'll be opening later this year a warehouse on the East Coast as well, which will help service those markets. But I think the biggest thing is that, the age-old question that some people used to ask, right, is, well, who owns Veloce and who backs Veloce and where is it made and all that good stuff. So, today, our dealers are backed by a $1.6 billion company that's traded on NASDAQ. And that is, I'll tell you, of all the other window film companies out there, they're all a part of something big. Like 3M is a part of 3M, but nobody, that valuation of what 3M is, it's tied in. It's also the even Saint Gobain, which is another good company, right? Eastman, Saint Gobain, 3M. So, to be able to be a part of a company that is 1.6 billion and it's just in film, I feel that we are going to in the commercial arenas and stuff where those decisions people want to know who backs that warranty as opposed to an automotive a car or something. I think it'll give us a big boost for our architectural dealers to go with that banner.
I think it's an enormous, enormous strength that, like you said, Expel is a window film paint protection. It's that industry, ceramic coatings, in its entirety versus a company that a small portion is that because that company, that portion becomes almost a liability in a sense. You can't take risks on that company.
Sure.
What's the point? It's a small company and so on. It's such a different ballgame. And I think because of that, and because, I don't think the business side of things is necessarily the forefront in the industry. Like as a dealer, you're not necessarily thinking about these sorts of things. But I think that Expel is so far beyond an advantage. Like it's not realized yet. It's only going to be continued to be realized. And I guess we could just maybe leave it there. But what I'm saying is, I think, like, I guess my example would be, Tesla. Everybody knows how great they're doing. Not to compare, but Tesla's obviously
Sure.
great. I don't think people
Sure.
realize how far ahead. I don't think Ford realizes, or if they realize, they're just playing
Yeah.
dumb. How far ahead? We know they're far ahead, but how far is the question? And I think it's way
Yeah.
further. And I think Expel's in that same boat where you're not seeing, like, yeah, they're here, but are you really seeing the momentum that's moving forward? And are you seeing ahead and how bigger that can grow exponentially? And I just think that as a company, it's
And, and,
far.
and Eric, while at a time when I see a lot of other brands just trying to keep what they have, right, on the defensive mode, Expel is on the offensive mode. They're like, look, we haven't even touched. And the beauty of it is that, guys, for those of people that say, well, there are four Expel dealers in my area or three, that is a big pie. I mean, the PPF pie that they have created, and now the automotive window film pie that they've created, Eric, it is a big pie. I mean, I will tell you, I have friends that don't even care that I'm in the window film industry. But guess what? When they buy a new car and they call, if somebody doesn't carry Expel PPF, they won't go there. I mean, there is how many other brands? Maybe 3M has a little bit of pull where people want 3M film, but I'll tell you, there is in my being a car junkie that I am, there's no other brand. All of these other, especially the smaller brands, are so small. They're just
I
they're,
mean,
they
look,
make a dealer feel good. They give them a territory. Guys, there's to me. you can be just like I am, right? I mean, I want you to take this. So if you are I'm going to use a city like El Paso, Texas, and you think that, okay, look, you are the only brand X dealer, and that makes you feel really good that I'm the only brand X dealer in El Paso, and I have the city to myself. That's one way of looking at it. That would be like me saying, hey, Eric, I have Veloce, I own it, I make the decisions, I don't have any partners, and blah, 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 right? I mean, I can feel real good about that. Or I can say, hey, look, there's some product awareness. I don't mind there being two or three dealers because the pie is big. There's enough for all of us to have. I can go to a dealership, I can go to car shows, and so forth.
Yeah. And with that said, like, you can sell any product out there. You can private label your own product and that can be your thing. It depends on your strengths. It depends on the direction your business is going. There isn't going to be a scenario where like, oh, this one product is the only option in the market. One product makes room for another product and so on. Awareness makes room for a second place. There's a third place and so on. So the point being, this isn't a you're screwed if you carry XYZ window film. But at the same
Sure.
time, we have a company that's doing things that are on a forefront, something brand new, something innovative, and really pushing things. So we're not going to dismiss that and not talk about it and be excited about it. So I just kind of want to be clear to everybody: the excitement comes from people's successes. The excitement comes from people doing things that are probably going to benefit the industry, that look to be like a great thing. Whoever that is and however that is, you should get excited about that. Who cares about the
So
brand?
Eric, one of my
Yeah.
yeah, agreed. And one of my goals is that, I had this plan all along. We had the funds, we had the plan all along to help Veloce create uh, and be a part of the specs. So a top-down approach in commercial and residential in the architectural world, where the spec comes down. So today we see a lot of 3M specs. 3M has done a good job. And again, guys, I happy to give credit to those people that deserve it. And 3M's done a great job of that spec. So we had the money, we had the entire plan. I have the plan of what it takes. I didn't have the people, right? So now under Expel, I feel with the resources that we have, with the marketing team that we have, with the technical team that we have, with the NFRC expertise that we have, right, on getting these products, uh, within the next 24 months, right, if not earlier, my goal is to start getting into those where we can be a part of the spec that comes down rather than always trying. With the dealer brands, what happens is you're always trying to go up and meet the spec and say, hey, can I change it? Can I do this? And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I mean, you play with the cards that you're dealt with. But my vision is that I'd like that spec. I know how to do it. I've known how to do it, right? We had the funding to do it. We didn't have the people. Now we have the people as well.
And anybody who's ever gone after large commercial bids quickly finds out that you need to be a 3M dealer. Okay, like
Sure.
quickly, like you find
Yeah.
out real quickly that that's a 3M industry dominated business. Of course, you can win some bids here and there, but you're not gonna. It's not. You're gonna give up. I
And
think if you're not going with the
I mean, look at the
at the
largest
moment.
window film company in the United States at the moment in terms of retail, right? James Beal at National Glazing is a 3M dealer, and he's got a lot of specifications and so forth. I mean, you're right. I mean, 3M is, and if you're not a 3M dealer, you are fighting an uphill battle, right? You're fighting an uphill battle. And but the thing is, look, I've lived that life. I've been that company that is chasing the spec up
Mhm.
because we were a dealer's brand. We were just making, and again, that's what we had to do, right? I mean, that's what we had. We were chasing that thing up. So as I chased those up, I realized where the roots are to where we can go in on top and come from top down. So I'm really excited about that because I think that what happens is even dealers that don't believe in you start realizing, oh my God, this spec. There's so many dealers out there that'll call 3M just for that one project, right? So I feel that that's I mean from your perspective, Eric. I mean in terms of this industry. Do you see uh, further acquisitions, or what do you think?
I mean, look, one of the thoughts that crossed my mind when I read the news was I thought instantly, so does that mean there's no more Veloce? And then my mind went to, well, why would they do that? That would, to me, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't get rid of Veloce. I would keep it as a Veloce and Expel brand. And immediately my mind went to Eastman and how Eastman's purchased up different suppliers, and they have a whole umbrella under them. And those they work together in a way, and so on. And you know, I think the business side of things are moving faster amongst dealers, growing to multiple locations, potential franchise opportunities, and similar. And then you have the suppliers and distributors now growing at, I think, an incredible rate because of the opportunity that lies in the industry. So acquisition being one of the quickest ways to growth and building a team and combining resources and working together, a lot of times acquisition makes perfect sense because it's not about competing. It can be about working together. It can make way more sense. So
Sure.
I guess, yeah, I mean, I feel like there's got to be more acquisitions out there. There has to be.
Yeah, I see right now. I see there are two types of companies in this industry, right? And there are ones whose best days are ahead of them, and there are ones whose best days are behind them. And the difference comes in ones that feel that manufacturing is the key and the answer to the solution, whereas the others that are seeing that you can manufacture all you want, but you've got to create consumer awareness, you've got to get out to market, you've got marketing. So the days of the days of if you build it and they will come are gone. You got to go get it.
Right.
You got to go get it. So I think that it'll be interesting. I think that the bailouts may have helped some companies in terms of that would have normally. I think um, they extended the time that some of these. So it'll be interesting. Again, more power to everybody. But to me, whether you are a competitor of Expel or not, you got to focus on bringing a competitive edge. Your competitive cannot edge cannot be, hey, we are family and let's just and I'm going to give you a huge territory, and nothing wrong with that. That's good, but you've got to go out and you got to figure out your niche and operate in that niche, whatever that is.
And the reason is because if you don't, somebody else is. And this is a different time where, everybody can jump on a Facebook group and say, what film do you carry? Or they can jump on and just read and see other people talking about the success that they're having using a product or whatever it is. So, like, it's no longer where, like, all right, I can go into a shop, I can make a face to face, relationship with them. I can bring them on as a vendor, and maybe nobody else is really going to go after them. Now it's an educated world. So the top rises and it's easy to see who that top is. And, it starts to, I don't know, it's like it works itself in a direction based on, look, how many phones are out there? We pretty much realize the good
Yes.
phones, right? We know what the good
Yeah.
phones
Yeah.
are,
Yeah.
right? There's not too much of a question. Now, if you want to get another phone, cool. There's other companies, they're millionaires and they're selling other phones, but we still know what the good phones are. And I think
Mhm.
that same thing would happen. If you look back 15 years ago, there were way more phone options. 20 years ago, way more diverse what people were using. Right now, you're either an Apple or an Android, and you have a couple models basically to choose from. And I think that
Yeah.
direction that window film manufacturer or distribution or whatever you want to call it, supplying
Yeah.
will go. And maybe
And
even dealers in areas. But go ahead.
I want to bring up one other point, right? So people asked me, they said, Harry, at Veloce, why didn't you carry the smart tint, the electrochromic films or the
Oh,
transitional films
it's
or
a
other
nightmare.
films? Yeah, no, but people asked. They
Freaking
said,
nightmare. Yeah,
they
on
said,
all
you're
levels, it's a
talking.
nightmare.
You,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I had one dealer who's actually a good friend of mine. He's here in Houston, and he said that's I mean, I can't believe you talk about innovation and Veloce. You name your company, and he's a good friend of mine. So we were just having this conversation, and he said, you didn't bring on electrochromic films, you didn't bring on this film, the transitional films, you didn't bring this on and that on. And my philosophy on that is that look, as a company, one has to decide what it is what are its values, right? What are its values? What are the promises I'm making in the market? Even exterior films. I had a dealer who said, a good friend of mine who said, man, I really want some exterior films. And I said, look, if you're going to buy risky films, and I call these risky films, right? Exterior films, electrochromatic films, and what you call the transitional films. Uh, these are all very risky films. If you're going to buy risky films,
Mhm.
don't buy them from the previous Veloce. And that's why I didn't want to sell them. Because look, a few wrong turns, if you're going to put out a $2,000 glass breakage warranty, make sure you get it from a 3M, a Saint Gobain, or a Lumar, or an Expel, or something like that. Because Eric, these, you sell a dollar a square foot film with a liability of a 2,000 square foot window. You have 20 windows go out. That's 40 grand.
Right.
Right. So in just so my philosophy on that is, guys, some of my advice to all, I mean, everybody in this industry is, if you're going to buy a risky film,
Yeah.
make sure, or if you're going to do something risky, whether it's a higher try to do it. I'm not saying, look, there's a huge opportunity for smaller brands to do what they do well, and they've done well. They've done a great job. And they gave me an opportunity as Veloce being a smaller brand, but try to limit your liability with smaller brands. If you're going to do something risky, do it with a bigger brand. If you're not going to do something risky, there are a lot of good small brands out there as well.
Yeah. And if we could take a moment, and I'd like to
Mhm.
express why I said that that's transitional film, or the flip films, the
Yeah,
electrical
yeah.
films are either such a nightmare. And then you tell me if I'm right, wrong, or just add to it. You don't have to say right. I'm curious if you have other reasons. In my experience, I think that product should be in the market. I think there's a market for it. I think if you want to sell it, you can sell it. The problem, I think, is I don't think there's enough training on how to install it, on how to use it. I don't think there's enough training on the expectations you should give a customer. I don't think
Yeah.
people understand that if you're near a metal frame, that the electricity from that edge can arc.
Hmm.
I don't think they
Yeah.
know that when you're cleaning it, if a little bit of water gets on that edge of that film, it can short it out, or at least it can deteriorate it. So you have to properly edge seal it, and you can't edge seal it with a water-based silicone. I don't think people know that if you get one dust speck in that beautiful big panel as you're putting it on the sliding glass door, that yes, it will only look like a dust speck that day. But in a month or two, that dust speck will peel away and it'll look like a silver dollar sized or a quarter sized peel away. And if these things
Yeah.
are explained, and you're properly trained on the installation to minimize those problems, you charge accordingly, and the customer's expectations are set accordingly, I believe there's a place in the market. However, it doesn't seem to go that way. It seems to go, the customer has this film and I'm going to install it, and then I'm going to take a liability for a piece of film that they paid $1,000 for. I'm going to take liability for that entire thing if anything happens. Or, you just think, let's see how it goes. And in all that time that you spend hassling with the customer and going back to the site and so on, you could have installed probably 100,000 a dual reflective and made
Yeah.
$1 bazillion, and you'll have no headaches for the future. So that is why I say it's a nightmare. And don't
And,
get lured in by a job.
and I'm gonna add one more thing. Too often, I've heard people say, "Well, I'm just going to give them a 2-year warranty or a 3-year warranty, or I'm just going to look. Lifetime warranties are crap, and this and that. I'm just going to give them a 1-year warranty." Look, Eric, customers don't hear exactly what you say. They hear what they want to hear,
That's
right? And we know that. So, well, that's not, so let me give you an idea of glass breakage, right? So people say, oh, it's a lifetime warranty. Glass, most companies give a 5-year glass breakage warranty. 7 years later, something glass, the customer remembers the lifetime warranty.
sure.
They don't remember, they don't know what glass breakage is. They don't know what seal failure is. They're thinking, I've got a lifetime warranty, right? So again, and we don't go into, when you go into a job, you don't go into all the details of glass breakage. It's a fine line. You don't want to scare them, but you want to educate them, but you don't want to scare them, right? And so forth. So the same thing in risky films is that, yes, you think, okay, well, I'm just going to tell them it's a 2-year warranty, right? Or on the electrochromatic films or whatever it is, and I'm just going to tell them it's a 3-year warranty, and so forth. That when it goes bad, and that review hits your thing, you may think, look, I've gotten away with it or something.
Right.
When that review hits,
Hmm.
it's not for what the seed that you planted today. It's for the seed knowingly that you planted 3 years ago.
That's right. And that review potentially can drag along on your ankle as you move forward because you drag it along. And if you get too many of them, it can be this example of like where, when you're starting off or you're starting into flat glass or so on, you can think, I can do that. What's the difference? I'll do that. What's the difference? And so on. But as you get more and more and bigger and bigger and bigger, you have to minimize your like liability and your F ups and your potential problems because they can be overwhelming. They can be enormous. Like you said, the hundreds of thousands of dollars in glass, you could have think you did this great project. That project could potentially put you out of business if you did that project wrong. It could be
Yeah,
a lawsuit. It could be
and
anything.
the and the other thing is, Eric, the last part of that is 3 years later, when you go, and even if you decide, Eric decides, I'm going to redo that one window for the customer that failed, or the three windows, right? The liability, this is not a window film that you paid $1 a square foot for. The amount of money, and that's why I always keep going back to, if you're going to buy a risky film, buy it from a bigger company, right? And I used to tell my customers that. I have a customer in, not even a customer, I have a friend in Montana, Sherry Wobbs and Dan Wobbs. And these guys, I love them. I've known them for over 10, 15 years. And they're just, I mean, they don't even do any business with me yet. I'm coming back for you, Sherry and Dan. But they don't even do any business with me. But, they asked me this, and hey, listen, we need a $2,000 warranty for glass breakage and seal failure. And they said, well, we're buying from this company and that company. And I said, look, Sherry and Dan, let me tell you something. If you're going to put up that kind of risk, do it with a bigger company, right? Buy the films from the smaller company, nothing wrong with it.
Hmm.
But if you're going to take that risk, so any risky film, exterior film, photochromic film, transitional film, electrochromatic film, anything, and even exteriors. I put exteriors in there because an
Go back.
exteriors can fail real fast.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So there was a couple questions in here regarding somebody had said earlier that they were thinking about becoming a Veloce dealer and they wondered if that opportunity was still available. And a couple other people asked if how to be like, what the process is now or what that looks like. I assume you can still become a Veloce dealer, right?
For sure, for sure. You can become a Veloce dealer. By the way, you can contact us directly. If you have an Expel rep in the area, you can contact them. Look, the beauty of the way that Expel has designed its sales team is that when a goal is scored anywhere, everybody along the way wins. So there is no, I mean, obviously there's certain channels in certain areas, like in Florida, we've got Keith who handles that, Baxter and stuff. So I'm just using that as an example. But the beauty of it is that when a goal is scored, everybody wins, and that's how it's been designed. That's another thing I like. There's not, in certain brands, you brought up Suntech and Lumar again. Good company. And stuff. But the problem is that there's a lot of inter-competition between those two brands
Mm-hmm.
as well. And the Suntech dealer is saying, well, that you don't have to pay for Lumar. It's made by the same company. It's the same film. Why are you going to pay extra for it? Just another label. We're the same company. It's a lifetime warranty. The way Expel has designed it so far, from my understanding, is it's not. So yes, you can become a Veloce dealer. Not only can you become a Veloce dealer, but it's not just backed by Harry Rahman. It's backed by a $1.6 billion company. You guys, you're going to get tired of me saying that because, that's one of the things that I wanted to bring, because as we were going into the commercial markets, people asked. In the residential markets, not so much. But, you're talking to a $20 billion corporation and you're asking them to put this on 50 buildings. They're going to want to know who holds the bag on that warranty.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, look, just as if you're an Expel dealer, let's say you're a current Expel dealer and maybe you're just focused on automotive, maybe you've done a little flat glass, whatnot. What Expel has now done has, they've just increased the amount of resources that now you have and the amount of resources moving forward, beyond their flat glass line already. but without, you're not talking to a new rep, you're not necessarily making new relationships. This is all like built in, and this is one of those like advantages of being with a company because they're adding to it, they're making changes, and that's really cool. I mean, right? Just same
Yeah,
channels. You don't have to learn anything new, sign anything new. It's
not
right
just
there.
that. The beauty of it is that if there's a guy that reached out to me, who is really, I mean, done such a good job. The guy's name is, I hope you don't mind me calling you out, Josh, but Josh Popnik, Blackout and stuff. Such one of the most beautiful shops, one of the most, and the way this guy treats, his team. I see all of his posts and stuff. I mean, he's just done an amazing job, and wants to grow his flat glass business. And my philosophy to him was, look, as an Expel dealer now, it's Veloce by Expel. We're part of that thing. So as an Expel dealer, what you're able to do is you're able to take one customer and cross market
Hmm.
to that person that's coming in, Josh, with a Lamborghini like yours. By the way, I like your Lamborghini, Josh, and I think you also have a Porsche, if I'm not wrong. So I watch those cars. I love them. So
I love it when I see like people like they post their Lamborghini. I'm like,
yeah.
what am I doing wrong? I just
Yeah. Listen, hey, you may want to become an Expel dealer, man. I mean, we may gotta get an Expel logo on that Tint Wiz thing, man. But so people like David Chuckman who have like a 1,500 horsepower a Lamborghini or something, just beautiful things. But I think the point I was going to was that, look, as an Expel dealer, one of the things that if like somebody like Josh and so forth, they're going to be able to take that one customer, right, who may have had a business and a home and a boat, and cross market throughout throughout to them with the expertise of flat glass as well.
which is huge because look, everybody knows in the window film market, if you're in the automotive, if you're doing automotive, one of the things with window film is you may see your customer once every 3 years if they lease cars, maybe a little longer, maybe they have a husband and wife, whatever the deal is. For homes, you're going to somebody's home once, unless you're in LA and they have multiple homes or vacation. You're going to somebody's home once and maybe never again. And these are other ways, obviously, with the full line of ceramic coatings, the fusion line, the full, flat glass and growing, the commercial, the residential. These are ways that you can capitalize on your customer base because when you capitalize on your customer base, you don't have marketing costs there necessarily. I mean, you might retargeting costs, but
Sure.
ultimately that's going to be your best. Your best opportunities is those customers who come in. They come in for your car. It's additional resources to be able to tint their home.
And Eric, the best part of Expel, I don't even think we've seen yet, because when I started learning about the ecosystem that they're building, I think what I realize is that what we see today are just, it's like a farm. We see some trees. There's a beautiful orange tree there. There's this tree. There's that tree. There's that tree. When that farm is complete and that ecosystem is built,
Sure.
I mean, we haven't even seen, and that's why I say, there's some companies, and I really feel that our best times, are ahead of us based on the plans and stuff. So it's exciting to learn the vision, beyond just my vision of what I had for Veloce, to be a part of an ecosystem and I'm sure, look, I'm not saying other companies. I'm sure there are other companies that have great visions of what they're doing and stuff. And I would always want to learn and learn and about them and learn from them as well.
Sure.
So
The
I'm not saying we're the only company that is doing these things. I'm sure there are a lot of good companies with good ideas.
Exactly it. Exactly it. And there's always opportunity. Everything creates opportunity. But the including somebody blazing a path that creates an opportunity. So it's not
Sure,
just about who's ahead, it's about everything that comes behind it too and so on. And that's the
sure.
way business works. And that's the great, awesome thing about it. There's cycles, there's opportunities and so on. But I think undeniably the roots of Expel and the roots of Veloce have grown deeper and wider with this acquisition. And I think that's exciting. And that's why it's like, this is such a
Yeah.
festive Tint Wisdom, I feel like at least.
And part of me, and I'll call a spade, right? People would say, "Hey, man, you got you sold the company, you got what you wanted. What's in it for you, right? And the reality is, I'll tell you what's in it for me is that I see that my vision just got much bigger, right? I mean, look, if I wanted to jump off the bandwagon today, I can do it. I can do it. I could, go off into a different industry or do something else if I wanted to. I love what I do. I love the people that we do it with, and now being on a team that I've never experienced, right, of this kind of support and structure. Um, it's kind of like renewing your vows, man. I mean, it's pretty damn cool. It's like a new life.
Yeah, it's an exciting new like break. And then Robert asked if Veloce prices are going to increase now. What do you think?
So wait, has he not gotten the letter that they went up 50%? No, I'm just
I
kidding.
don't have the sound.
Look, no, no, no. Look, guys. I don't look. There obviously there's some things beyond me, right? We have a good team. I don't see if there is a price increase, there's a standard price increase every year by some companies by 3 to 4%. I don't see prices going up much more than that. But again, I also want to be clear that not all the decisions that are made are mine. But look, there's a lot more to be done as well. So, but I don't see anything big coming up.
Cool. Well, an enormous congratulations to you. If anybody wants to, in the description, Harry's Facebook is linked, Veloce's website linked, as is Expel's. Not that you can find that pretty easily. And if you want to own part of Veloce and Expel, you can do that on the NASDAQ. Now, that's not investment advice in any sort of way. I'm just saying, regardless of what film you
You should
like.
have told me that. You should have told me that a year ago, man.
I
Now
know
you
somebody
tell
should
me.
have told me that a year ago. Hey, if you check my Facebook,
Yeah,
right when Expel went public on the Nasdaq, when they transferred the Canadian exchange to the Nasdaq
yeah,
exchange, I had shared that, and one of my friends saw it. Like, so somebody I don't
yeah.
know bought the stock, made a bunch of money, and then told the friend to thank me for sharing it because that's how they knew to do it. I haven't made a penny. I haven't ever owned Expel shares to this date, not from a lack of, just from a dumminess point of view. Obviously, it was terrible. It wasn't even a decision, but I don't even know what to call it. But
Hey,
the point is,
the next time, listen, the next time you share some of those stock tips, please just like add me, tag me on there so I can actually figure out what to buy, man. It
yeah,
seems like
tag me
you're
back
making
too.
it. Tag you back.
Or send me my 5% broker's fee, please, or whatever it's supposed to be, management
Absolutely.
fee. But
That's
no, I'm
funny.
serious. It's kind of
Yeah,
look, I bring it up because it's kind of interesting. You can own
yeah,
part of the company if you buy shares. I
sure.
know it's an obvious thing, but I'm just saying. And if you believe that this company
Yeah,
has a long way to go and a very bright way to go, then it's not an investment advice show, and this is an investment advice to anybody. I want to be real clear on that. However, I'm just saying that opportunity is there, and I think it's a cool one and kind of a fun dimension to add to your life if you're looking for things to invest in. I truly believe the most secure investments are the ones you understand the most. So they're usually in your own business or in businesses that you understand, and that's better
sure,
than under investing in companies that what do you know about it really?
sure.
So anyway,
100%.
congratulations to you, Harry. I don't know if there's a
Thank
song
you.
I could sing, but congratulations and best wishes to the future. I know it's going to be nothing but success for expelling you both.
Eric, it's so interesting when you say that. I can feel how heartfelt that is. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all your support, your help as a friend, your advice, your direction. Listen, you know this more than anybody else, but I'll say it in front of the entire world that, man, you are an amazing friend of mine. And I thank you. I thank everybody. And we're going to grow. We're going to grow this thing. I'm here for as long as they'll allow me. We are going to kick some butt.
Thank you, Harry. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for your kind words, and thank you for all you're doing all around. Thanks for being you,
Thanks,
buddy.
Thanks, buddy. Take care.
Enjoy your evening. Have a
Thanks.
great
Bye bye.
evening, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye
Thanks.
bye.
Bye bye.